3 cars blocked a canal in the United States. In order to prevent the irrigation from being affected, the management decided to send someone to remove the cars. However, after 2 divers went down, they never came back up. Subsequently, 2 more divers were sent down to rescue them, but they also failed to surface. Then, a third group of 2 divers went down to recover the cars, and what they saw next was shocking. This is not a fairy tale. This is a real incident that occurred in the United States at the Roza Canal. In the southern part of Washington, there is a small town called Zillah, which belongs to Yakima County. The town is surrounded by large farmlands and vineyards. To irrigate these crops, the local government constructed 7 underground tunnels, also known as Hongxi pipes, to divert water from nearby Zillah Canal and Roza Canal into the fields. However, not only farmers liked these canals, but also car thieves. To avoid police inspections, they often threw stolen cars into the canal, and these cars would be carried along the water flow into the Hongxi pipes, causing blockages in the waterway. As a result, the local authorities would clear the cars from the pipes once every year before irrigation. On March 14, 1997, 3 cars were discovered in the Hongxi pipe near the Roza irrigation area. In order not to disrupt the irrigation process 2 weeks later, the Roza irrigation area decided to remove all 3 cars. The Hongxi pipe is about 673 meters long and reaches a depth of 31.7 meters, with a diameter of about 2 meters, crossing over a road. The tunnel uses the Hongxi effect to channel water into the farmland and has an inverted trapezoidal shape. 2 divers were hired, 33-year-old Marty Rode and 41-year-old John Eberly. Both had received recreational diving training, which did not qualify them for commercial diving work. However, due to their previous experience with irrigation canals and the high cost of hiring commercial diving teams, the authorities overlooked the issue. At the time, the temperature was still quite low in March, and the water outlet at one end of the canal was even frozen. Around 10 a.m., the 2 divers broke through the ice and went in. They didn't carry ropes but had a thin steel cable. According to the plan, they would swim to the cars, attach the steel cable to the bumpers, and pull the cars out once they returned to the surface. The method was simple, and the tunnel was not very long, so each diver only carried 1 air tank. The air in the tank was expected to last for an hour, and they planned to spend around 40 minutes underwater, with one of them carrying a small emergency air tank. The equipment seemed to be fine, and they followed the plan, reaching the cars and successfully attaching the cable to the bumper. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, and in about 10 minutes, they would be back at the surface. However, they suddenly realized that the air in their tanks was running out. The 2 divers panicked and immediately turned around to swim back to the exit, but the air ran out before they could go far. They shared the emergency air tank, but to their surprise, that tank also quickly emptied. Since they did not have communication equipment, the people on the shore had no idea what was happening. Eventually, both divers drowned. More than 50 minutes passed, and since they had not surfaced,